Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emily. I'm here to give you an update on not very much cross stitch. Now, I'm not being clickbaity, but I've put a title in. I need you all to do something for me. All of my people who watch me all the time, and a few of you who watch now and again, if you're watching this video, please can you do one thing for me? And if you can do it right now, please can you do it right now? Right, I will explain. If you are watching this on a device that you do not have Pattern Keeper on, please can you go into your Pattern Keeper and export the progress of any of your whips that you have worked on since the last time you exported your progress. Please send it to the cloud, send it to Dropbox. I use Google Drive. Please do that for me. And for those of you who don't know me very well, you might have guessed what's happened to me this week. Yeah, I've lost everything. It finally happened. Now, I've been on Flosstube 3.5 years, nearly, no, 3 3/4 years really. Crikey, is it that long? It is, it's that long. Anyway, I've been using the same phone throughout, and it's been getting older and older and more broken, and I'm so blasé. I was so blasé. That's on me. And I just went, it'll never happen. My phone's amazing. It's so old. It's hanging in there. Yes, its screen smashed to pieces. Yes, there's huge chunks of the glass missing off the front. Oh, look, the battery swelled up and nearly was set on fire. And I changed the battery and off it went and it worked again. Yeah. So it died on Thursday night. On Thursday night, I wasn't cross-stitching. I was making a circle skirt for Lizzie, which is actually really good and really fun thing to do. She'd been at, it was World Book Day, and high school randomly did pajama day. So she went to school in pajamas, then came with me down for the night, not realising that she was wearing pajama bottoms with nothing to wear to school the next morning and no clothes stored. So I had fabric, I had an overlocker, I had a sewing machine, I had an iron, I had zips. I made her a circle skirt. Wonderful. She's really happy. It fits really well. It's got lovely big pockets. Bar me sewing the zip outside in beautifully, pattern matching a check. I sewed the zip really nicely, an invisible zip, but I sewed it inside out. So I had to obviously take that out. I actually just, because it was slightly too big, I actually just cut the zip out and then unpick and then like seam rip the zip and then put the zip back in. Anyway, other than that, it worked wonderfully. So sitting down just to watch some telly, have a cup of coffee before bed, and I did what any normal person would do. I googled whether somebody at work had asked me whether Bryan Adams was American or English, and I of course said without thinking, well, he's Canadian, because Bryan Adams is Canadian. Yeah, of course he is, but he lives in the UK and has done for a long time. And the guy was like, oh right, good, thank you, I was not sure. So that was fine. And then later on in the evening I was like, I said it without thinking. I was right, wasn't I? So of course I googled it, and I just switched the off button. You know, I switched the screen off button on my phone and I put it on the coffee table. Didn't know that was the last time I was ever going to use that phone, because when I plugged it in, when I went up to bed to charge it, the red light came on instead of the green light, and I thought, well, that's strange. Usually the green light comes on when you plug it on. I thought, I'll just check my alarm's good. Went to switch my screen on, and yeah, had an enormous panic attack, and I haven't had one for a very long time. And you know what? The only reason that I was panicking was because of Pattern Keeper. And please avoid the panic that I went through. I had a very, very long night of the soul. It was awful. And everything else is fine. Well, nearly everything else is fine, you know. All my pictures are backed up. All my documents I thought were backed up, because I ticked the Google box to send everything to Google Drive 2 years ago. Okay, so everything I bought over 2 years ago, I thought were on my SD card. they were not on my SD card. I have got the very first few PDFs I bought from ibobbin.com, which is super helpful. I do have a lovely Christmas pattern that I really should stitch. But everything I bought prior to, actually, ironically, my supersized treasure hunt bookshelf is the first. Anything I bought prior to that, I no longer have. It's in my phone, stored in the memory of my dead phone. Yay. So, my phone is at a repair shop. I think it's the battery. I think the battery that I replaced just gave in the ghost. It's been draining twice a day. So I just think it's the battery that's gone. So, but he of course immediately looked at my phone and said, well, the first thing I must do is change the screen. And I was like, no, the screen's been working just fine. He went, no, I have to change the screen. I was like, I don't want the phone working. I don't need to use it. Look, I've just been to O2 and signed up to a big new contract, hence the nice new phone I'm recording on, which hopefully is going to solve my entire doing little videos to YouTube problem, because I'm really small scale. I don't need a big setup, but I really, if I could do it and edit and save, it's the saving that's the problem, and upload from my phone, oh happy days, I'm going to be thrilled to bits, because I never have quite made friends with my tablet. It's never quite worked properly for me. I'm sure that's a user error. There's nothing wrong with my tablet. I'm sure it's user error, but yeah, so I dropped it off with him and I said, look, if you can recover the PDFs, that would be amazing. If you could get it so that it will work, I need 5 minutes with it. I need the internet in 5 minutes and I am back. But I haven't heard. He said the middle of the week. It's Wednesday today. Oh my God, I've not even said. It's Wednesday the 13th of March. I'm off work today. So yeah, I nearly did the video yesterday because I was on a late yesterday, but some of my pieces were at the other place, so that's fine. I just got them this morning and brought them back with me. So yeah, so my phone's in a phone shop and we'll see. Hopefully, I don't see why he couldn't be able to recover at least the PDFs off the phone's memory, which I was absolutely sure were on the SD card, and they weren't. So yeah, send all your PDFs up to Google Drive, Dropbox, Cloud, whatever it is you use, and please export your progress of the pieces that have had work on them since you last exported the progress. Please don't be me. And when you've done it, if you can leave me a comment in the comments saying what sort of a person you are, because I think there's two sorts of people here. There's people like me who are blasé and have 40 patterns in Pattern Keeper and have never, and the only reason that I even sent a backup was because Marcia said, you have got to back up your Pattern Keeper, do it now. And I didn't, and I was like, I don't need to. And then she was like, no, you really do need to do this. So I did last July. I've done it one time in July. So any work I've put into any of my pieces since July last year, and as we know, I don't do any stitching. Oh my God, my treasure hunt bookshelf is now at 14%. I'm at 22%. So I really need to get into my old phone. So I'm really hoping this guy can get my phone switched on for me. And if he can get it switched on for me, I will very happily take it from him, upload all my progress, get it onto my new phone, and jobs are good, and my old phone can go in the drawer with all my other old phones. If it doesn't, I've got a lot of work to do. I calmed down once I realised that everything was fixable. It's all fixable. Yeah, so let me know if you're blasé. Let me know you've backed up. Let me know you've done it and you've what's it called? Exported your progress. Let me know you've done it. And let me know if you're a blasé or if you're watching this and going, you're insane. I do it every time I rotate my projects. I figure there's people who save their progress every time they rotate a project. And there's people like me. I want to be the other sort of person, but I know my brain and I'm not that person. I will, however, from now on, be setting a monthly reminder, and I will, the projects I've worked on, and notably my treasure hunt bookshelf, will be sent up to the drive every month. When I get to my, I'll do it, but I'll do every piece I've worked on once once I finish my percent for the month. This month is going to be difficult. I'll show you what I've decided to do for this month in just a minute. So what have I got in Pattern Keeper? At the moment, I have got my supersized treasure hunt bookshelf, which I'm pointing at rather ridiculously because you can't see it because it's on the bed. I've got that. It's at 14%, which is not terribly helpful, but I have, because you have to have the PDF to put into Pattern Keeper to then import your progress back into, and that's where I've come a cropper, because I have the progress saved in July, and an awful lot of my pieces I haven't stitched on, or I've stitched on a little bit and could easily catch up, like easily catch up, and that would have been fine. But I don't have the PDFs because they're in my phone. I thought they were on the SD card. I didn't check. And that's another thing. Please make sure your PDFs are safe. Anything I've bought 2 years ago and newer is in the Google Drive. So I've got about 15 heids I could start, but I don't want to start. I want to stitch what I have. So I have Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, bit of an issue. I've got a lot of marking off to do. Unless I hear from this guy, I'll be able to tell you by next week whether I've managed to save it all or not. Not me personally save it all. It's all my fault whether some other human being has come along and saved my bacon or not. I have Amazing Animal Kingdom, which I have not stitched on. So 1, I had the PDF, and 2, I had up-to-date progress because I've not stitched on it for over a year. So brilliant. That is a good piece, and that I will be working on shortly. It's nearly its turn anyway. I have Happily Ever After, the only long dog sampler that I have, and I've got Gone to Pieces as well, which I just need to fuss with the thread colours. Gone to Pieces isn't up to date because I have stitched on it, but because it's a long dog, it's very, very easy to mark off and update yourself. So I've got 2 of my 4 long dogs. I do not have the PDF for Pointed Fifth. I do not have the PDF for the other one, the New Normal. I don't have the PDFs for them anymore. So unless they can be recovered off my phone, I've got another problem, which is going to be a very, very beggy email to Jules. And my Heaven and Earth designs, I no longer have half of the PDFs that I have got active whips. Not even half. I've got 2 of them that are active whips. So, bit of an issue there, but I'm going to wait and see, because if the guy can take the PDFs off my old phone, I'm fine. I've got them. I've bought them. They weren't backed up. And those I genuinely thought were. I really, truly thought my PDFs were on the SD card. I didn't realise they weren't. And that's on me again for not actually physically checking. As we used to say when I was at sea, assumption is the mother of all fuck ups, and it really is. You must never assume anything. Just don't make assumptions. Check. And you're watching this and you're going, you idiot, how didn't you know? But you know, life goes on. You download a pattern, you're so excited, you stick it into Pattern Keeper and you start stitching. You don't think. I don't think. Probably a lot of you do, but the way my brain works is new start, gotta get on, gotta go, do it. My brain doesn't go, okay, now back it up. But I did set it to upload to Google Drive, so I knew I had backups just from the one. It didn't just back my phone up to the point, it just started here and went from there. The stuff I had prior to that, it didn't care about at all. I would have had to have manually sent that up, and I never did. So that's on me. Anyway, I managed to take a few of the PDFs that I bought on Etsy, I couldn't download to my old phone because my old phone was too old to be compatible. So a couple of those I've managed, I downloaded onto my tablet and then sent across to myself. So I have them. And I'm hoping that the Shannon Christine designs that I bought at Christmas and the Barbara Anna I bought at Christmas, I'm really hoping they're still sitting in my emails and they're not too old to have expired. I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure Modern Folk Embroidery I can re-download, but I know Jacob would just send me a PDF anyway if I asked. But so I've got a little bit of collating to do, but I'm still hanging on to see if I can just recover everything from my phone, because if I can do it all from my phone, I've not got a problem. If I can't, I've then got to start reaching out to people. And if the worst comes to the worst, every time I pick up a project that I need that I want to work on and I don't have the PDF for, I'm just going to have to bloody well rebuy it, and you know, that's on me. So if that's where I am, that's what I'll do. Maybe a couple will get UFO'd that were never meant to be UFO'd because, you know, I've got some other PDFs that I can actually start. I'm looking at all those jungle montages now thinking, well, I have those PDFs. Some of the other PDFs I no longer have. Look at this lovely Lisa Parker mug. I got it for Lizzie for Christmas. This is in lieu of actually, you know, physically stitching one. Let's get it printed on a mug because that's so much quicker. Anyway, stitching. So prior to Horrific Thursday, I finished Cowpile. I mean, I was nearly finished last week. So, sorry about the light today. It is the gloomiest, grimmest day going. Here is Cowpile. Cowpile is finished. I'm really happy with it. The zombie cow's got black eyes after all. And, oh, the light is terrible. It's really pretty. Probably about there. It is really pretty. This light here is not helping anyone. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's actually my stitching light, but there's so little light in here today. That's a lot better. So Plum Street samplers. Plum Street? Yeah, Plum Street. Cowpile. Finished. It needs ironing and putting in my books of finishes for another time. So I'm really happy. So that's one whip off the pile. So, yeah, I've not been able to stitch. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I had no heart for stitching at all. I did almost nothing. It really knocked all the stuffing out of me. So I've done a little bit of Happily Ever After, which is one of my 4 long blogs for the 4 years. I'm here now. I've got a little bit of pattern, a little bit of, I thought if I get the framework of the blocks for the letters done, that's good. So I've got one more to go down there, and then there's, I think, a little bit to go down there, and then that'll be the framework in. So I've done a little bit more. This one I had the PDF of, and obviously it was incredibly simple to put in the, I think I was about there, that much stitching to mark it off. That was very easy to do. That took me 3 minutes and I was back in the game with this one piece. Yeah, my treasure hunt bookshelf is a very different story, and I'm going to show him you next. So I was working up here on page 1, and I thought, right, for the rest of this, for March, I'll just carry on and go round the edges of page 1, and I'll spread this way and I'll spread that way. Well, yeah, my plans have had to change because my pattern keeper now no longer thinks I've even pretty much started page 1. Back in July, because I went across the top in May, there is literally about 1,000 stitches marked off in this whole area between here and here. This bit here, all of this stitching here does not exist, and all of this stitching here does not exist. And all of that doesn't exist in my pattern keeper anymore. which is fairly substantial. But as I say, I'm going to wait and see if it's recoverable. And if it is, then it's all good. If it's not, I'm going to work. And as I come to a place where I've got stitches already in, I will mark them off as I go. Now I understand this is going to do horrible things to my counting because I literally stitch the right amount of stitches every month. So this month, while I'm in limbo, I've decided to do this, what I'm showing you. If this is going to be if my progress is unrecoverable and it's going to be ongoing, I'm just going to keep a track of how many stitches I'm doing every month, like literally write them down. When I finish for the day, I'll write 722 and I'll write 158, and then when I get to 7,222, I'm going to call it good for the month until I've caught myself up. And I think to mark off what it is essentially 8%, 8 sevens are, it's literally 60,000 stitches that I need to mark off. If I can't recover my progress, it's 60,000 stitches. It's going to take me, what, half a year to get that all sorted? And I will set to and do it, but it's going to impact the time I can stitch on the piece, and two, it's going to be a hard slog. So I'm not going to knock myself out and try and do it all in one go. I'm just going to say, right, okay, this has happened. I cannot change it. I have to work around it. So I'm just going to keep a manual check from next month. This month I've done what I'm going to show you because I'm really still very hopeful that he's going to be able to get my phone switched on. And as I say, I need 5 minutes with it. I can do it in his shop. If he's like, oh, I have to have it connected to this and this, but it's working, I'll be like, give me 5 minutes and then I'll give you money and then we're good. Yeah. So, oh dear. But if he says it's gone completely, it will never connect to the internet, your patterns are completely gone, ruined, it's corrupted, it's dead, it's factory reset, whatever happened, I can't see how it would be. It's just not switching on. But is that a forever state? We don't know. Anyway, but when you plug it in, the light is red, so the light comes on. It's not dead. I just think he's going to put a different battery in it and it's going to spark up. And then that's good. And that's all I need. I don't need it to be a working telephone because obviously it's knackered. And it was knackered anyway. And I now have a nice mid-range. I'm not stupid. I have a nice mid-range Samsung. Gone back Samsung. We're not quite friends yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's really nice to have a phone that actually, functions. So what I did for this month is I got my pen, which I'd had stored nib down. I've got it stored the other way up now. It blobbed. It's water soluble, it's fine. I drew a box that is enough. So if I fill, it's 70, I think it's about 7,500 stitches, this box. So if I fill in this box, and I'm really not going over the, look at this line. This isn't me. I'm a cross-country stitcher, as you can tell from my cross-country piece. But if I stick within this box, this is going to be the month stitching. And obviously I am bringing the colours down if they're in the gaps here, because I haven't worked on this side of the project. This side of the project I've not worked on since last year. So this side is marked up correctly. That's why I've had to come right over here. I was going to just start at the bottom. Oh, such a tangle. I was going to just start at the bottom and just say, right, this is the corner. I'm just going to start somewhere completely different. But in actual fact, this is all fine. I haven't worked on any of this. The first bit of stitching comes inside of this. Some of this reds in here aren't marked off. So actually, this bit here is good to stitch on, and this is all correct in Pattern Keeper as it was in July. So I put 1100 stitches in yesterday, and it just doesn't look like 1100 stitches, but I did put 1100 stitches in yesterday. This colour here, 814, that it's something sort of semicircular here, so there's a lot of this here which I'm going to get done today to fill in all of this bit, to get this here. And this is about 3 different colours here, so I should be able to get this bit knocked off in a day or two, and then I'll work on the rest of this. So if I can get this box, which I've marked, bar my blob, the pen blobbed. I wiped the nib, took the nib out, wiped the nib, took all the excess out the nib, and then it worked beautifully. I've now got it stored tits up instead of tits down. So there we go. Ta-da. Absolute nightmare. So I'll do this month in the hope that I can import progress and all of this will reappear in my PDF. All of this, all of that, most of that, and almost all of that is not there. So I'm on a workaround. I'm literally on a workaround. And if I get to a bit where I've clearly got stitches in that aren't marked off in Pattern Keeper, I'll just have to mark them off. But I'll give you my verdict next week as to whether I've managed to recover everything or not. But I've got quite a lot of stuff that's paper patterns. I just have to do a bit more clever smarts round and about and use paper patterns instead, don't I, for a bit? I've got loads of stuff on paper patterns. So, as I said, some of my Etsy pieces I've got the PDFs for, because I could move them from my tablet onto, I actually sent them from my tablet up to my Google Drive and then got them back onto there. So I've pulled this morning Moondragon, which is here and has not been stitched on for over a year. So this is fine. Progress in this is perfect. So for the rest of March, I'm going to work on Moondragon as my full coverage extra piece. It's not full coverage because I'm not stitching the black background, because I dyed. This was my original, if you're a new subscriber, this piece of fabric was my original treasure hunt bookshelf, which I started here. Probably can't even see. There is quite a lot of stitching there. You can just about see the outline there. Top left corner there. And similarly on the other corner, there is my first ever start, which was 2/2 on cheap 18 count Ada, and then I couldn't make it work. So I restarted it 1/2, and I still wasn't happy with it. So I got the Supersize Max Colour. And then I dyed this as good as I could, and I was going for navy blue black, but where it was folded you can see there are some blebby bits where it didn't quite, there's a big bit there where it didn't quite take up all the dye, and I honestly put so much dye in this, it took forever for it to run clear. So I've lined the dragon up. This is a beautiful pattern with a dragon and a moon. He's about that size, and the dragon lays inside the moon. So most of this will all get covered with stitching, and this will be covered with the top of the moon. I situated it very carefully because obviously I don't want, usually I stitch right up to a margin to save as much fabric as possible. I do not want this fabric for anything else. So once it's done, it's done. So my little Moondragon, such as he is, will be stitched on, and for him I simply started at his nose. So I started at his nose, and he is complete to about there, and the only black I'm stitching in is places where it's in the dragon, like it in his mouth and in his eye he's got black. Other than that, I'm stitching any colour that isn't 310 on the edges, but anything that's 310 and isn't in the dragon, I'm not stitching. I think it's like 42,000 stitches I'm not stitching on it. but I'm going to see how far. I'm just going to put some stitches into this little guy, and I'll just head that way. And similarly with the moon, I'm just heading round with the moon. So I'm cross-countrying as I do. The gridding's fine. I've just got a lot of long grid lines hanging because I pull them around as I need them. So I've taken most of the gridding out of his nose because I finished that bit, and then I pull out the strands and I put them in somewhere else. So I'm leaving them long. When they're clipped into the Q-snap, they're not anywhere near as annoying as they are when I'm trying to show the piece not in a Q-snap. But next week it'll probably be in its snap. I just pulled it this morning because it's one of the patterns I have that's up to date. So yeah, disaster zone. And it's all my own fault. That's the bottom line is, this is on me. This wasn't a catastrophic, oh my God, like my last phone. I dropped it onto cobbles, turned it over and watched the screen glow black. And that was unrecoverable dead. I smashed it to pieces. It was dead. It wasn't a catastrophic injury. This was an elderly phone that I was too blasé about. Way too blasé about. So there it is. Very little stitching this week, guys. I've actually picked up some crochet, which I'll show you later. I'm still figuring out a pattern. As you know, my big 3808 sofa, 3808 DMC colour. Older videos when I'm downstairs in this house downstairs on my 3808 velvet sofa, which I still love. It's in terrible nick. It will be moving, but it's in terrible nick. So until I can scrub it and clean it and get it as good as I can get it, I can't do that here because somebody keeps putting all sorts of rubbish and crap on it, which is making its condition a lot worse. And every time I scrub the arm of it and it's drying out, I find somebody's either put laundry all over it or a box full of chainsaw bits, which, thank you, yes, oily stuff, great. Yeah, so yeah, so it needs to move, but equally it's not in good shape, so it's going into a very nice room. So I thought if I crochet it a lovely big throw, we can cover up the worst bits with a big throw. So, and of course my heart was really not into cross stitch. It took, treasure hunt bookshelf actually saved me, because I literally went, well, I have the pattern, I really need to get on. I don't want to end up behind for the month. Like last month, having to do 4,000 stitches in 3 days, 3.5, 4 days was just, it's a lot. I can do it, but it's a lot. I'd rather just tinker on with it. And I thought, well, I need to be tinkering on with it then. And it kind of pulled me out of the fug of not being able to stitch because catastrophic injury had occurred. So, yeah, right. I think I'm going to upload this video without editing it at all. So normally you get little bits of words on it and things like that. We're not having any of that today. I'm just going to send this straight up to YouTube right now. I can't be fussed editing it at all. I'm just going to upload the raw video. So I never really chop bits out or anything anyway, unless I say something really rude. Sometimes I go a bit off message and get a bit ranty. That's the only time I'll edit myself, is when I watch it back and go, yeah, no. So I don't really heavily edit anyway, but yeah, that's that. And I'll see you next week, hopefully with a better pattern keeper position, or at least but what I will have is the knowledge of whether I am starting from scratch. I am sending beggy emails to, you know, Jules and Michelle and saying, had a catastrophic accident, please this must happen. You must have a procedure for people who've just stupidly lost the PDFs they're actually working on. Ones I'm not working on, I'm not bothered about, because I can always rebuy them. But the ones that my active whips are, I've got a bit more of an issue with, really a bit more of an issue with, but I'll cross the bridge. Once I know where I am with my old phone, I will cross that bridge when I come to it. And please, please, guys, please export your progress in Pattern Keeper, or is it Markup XP that Apple people use? Please, just if it doesn't do it automatically, because Pattern Keeper doesn't. Pattern Keeper does not automatically save your progress. It saves it to your device. It saves it on the app in your device. If your device no longer switches on, your Pattern Keeper is gone. Please export your progress for me and drop me a comment to let me know you've done it. Because none of you need to feel how I felt on Thursday, because I was really panicking. I've not had a full-on panic like that for a very, very long time. And then I realised it was just because of Pattern Keeper. And then I didn't feel silly because, you know, I felt like I needed to justify why I was so upset. And then it was just like, well, what else do I do? I go to work. I drive my car a lot because I'm driving between here, there and everywhere. And I stitch. That is my hobby. If somebody says, what's your hobby? I would say I cross stitch. And all of a sudden, if somebody takes away your tools, and it is a massive tool, it's really tough. So please, please, please. I'm sure most of you already are on it. But there must be one or two people out there who are like me. There has to be. I cannot be the only stupid person on the planet. Not stupid, but blasé. Blasé's the word. That's what I was. I used to laugh about it. I even said, oh, if my phone dies, I'm losing all, oh, this will all be gone, ha ha ha. It's funny till it's not funny, you know? Right, guys, I will see you next week. Sorry there's been very little stitching this week, but yeah. Oh, I can still cry. Anyway, I'll see you next week. I am now going to do some stitching. I feel stitchy now, so this is good. I'm off work. I'm going to go do some stitching. I will see you later, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.